Coming down to the end, we're in the multicolor section. Frankly, there are not that many cards to go over, so let's get started off with another Revolt card. Yeah, this thing, like I said before, triggers with everything that happens in Revolt. But Hot Dog, you'll be getting a lot more value than you may think. Just think about getting a Revolt creature from your graveyard and getting in more stuff and value from what you're revolted against. I feel like this could chain a bunch of things together. It's sort of like, almost like a Sun Titan when you revolt stuff. Heck, you could even get back with a Sun Titan and get back a revolt creature and then just get all that freaking value off this stuff. This thing has a lot of potential, just like all the other revolt creatures in the set, so I would definitely recommend picking up some copies that's just like the other revolting cards. My gosh, get your copies of Eerie Interlude soon. Hot frickin' dog. Well, Fast Engineer seems like the creature to go to if you love playing vehicles. Just about more than likely will trigger every time you pilot a vehicle, and even if you don't want to attack with it, or even if you don't have any other vehicle or have artifact creatures instead, you can pump those as well. It's a real shame that Smuggler's Copter is not in Standard. You can now have 5/5 Smuggler's Copters, but now it looks like we'll have to have something different now that they're banned. Next up, we have the Rogue Refiner, which seems like an awesome card to also balance and flicker, giving you cards and energy and at the same time, which honestly I can't complain. I love cards and I love energy, so yeah, this is a sweet card. I'm sure it will have some sort of playability for Standard, but you could likely see play outside of that as well, considering drawing cards is universally a very well-liked effect. Although I've talked a lot about several artifacts that trigger upon leaving the battlefield and coming back, and having cards that bring them back, Tensor Studs seems to take that one step further, turning your artifact that potentially has an ability like that into a creature, and then once that creature dies, it just comes back to your hand. Hot diggity dog. That's pretty flippin' exciting. Although it does cost a little bit, and although cards like this that turn artifacts into creatures usually are a little iffy, just because you can just remove the enchantment as well as destroy the creature. This is a bit different, simply just because you get additional value upon it leaving. Continuing with the Revolt theme, but in a different aspect, we now have the Hidden Stockpile, which is another enchantment with Revolt. Oddly enough, this is going to give you a lot of frickin' Thopters and that activated ability. Oh my gosh, yeah, this is going to be just flippin' silly. You're just going to be doing this every time your artifacts just get targeted or would be destroyed. Just sack it, scry one, you get another Thopter. I really feel like there's some infinite loop with this, or some sort of loop with this. You can't really get infinite because it only triggers once a turn, but it's still really flippin' good, and I'm sure it will give you lots of value over time. Again, another creature that was designed to be piloting vehicles, Renegade Wheelsmith makes it so that your vehicles can get through unblocked. Just like the Mechanic, or that other red-black thing that pumps vehicles, this is another ideal card for the vehicle deck, whatever it would be. Like I say, it's too bad that Smuggler's Copter doesn't exist anymore. That was like, oddly enough, that was probably like one of the only most playable vehicles that we had. I mean, there are a couple others exceptions, but yeah, I mean, when silly things like that happens, you get a bunch of cards that would have worked well with things that are no longer available. Now, frankly, I'm a big fan of Maverick Thopterus, just because it gives you extra artifacts that you can use for either attacking, blocking, or sacrificing to abilities. But frankly, that improvise is also really sweet. I'm sure this will see some play in some sort of format. I personally think this is arguably the brand new version of World of Rogue, although it doesn't give your creatures any sort of form of evasion. While cards like Hardened Scales did see some play in Standard before, Winding Constrictor takes that to a new level by giving you a very pushed creature, a 2/3 for 2, and a lot of other great effects, which not only will give you additional counters, but will give you additional energy. While energy is also counters, this also keeps in mind, you have to keep in mind it's not just energy and 1/1 counters, it's also other kinds of counters. So in short, if you play this in Modern, I really hope you don't have to play against Infect. Dark Intimations kind of gives us a hopeful story that Nicol Bolas, or some sort of Grixis Force, will be coming in the next upcoming set. And my goodness, I love the days of Cruel Ultimatum and how sweet that is. Yes, yeah, this is an interesting card. I don't know how well it's going to be received for the Standard community and the whole constructed community as well. But I really do like this card a lot, mainly for nostalgic purposes. But I like Cruel Ultimatum. I actually thought Cruel Ultimatum was kind of an underwhelming card upon first glance. Also, that second ability hints that obviously a Bolas Planeswalker is coming. Will it be the reprint that we know and love, or will it just be some other ridiculous new card that just I really hope it's an old one, just because I'm tired of all these new reiterations of old characters. Just stop. It's confusing. It's annoying. Get new characters. I'm just tired of recycling old things. Speaking of other things that were once in this game and reiterations of old characters, we have the third reiteration of Tezzeret the Schemer. Although +1 for a Lotus Petal is pretty sweet, this thing is also a nice removal spell if you run a lot of artifacts. And my goodness, you can turn your Lotus Petals into 5/5s if you hit that ultimate. I mean, if you get that far, you're likely going to win the game anyway, but honestly, I mean, it was kind of, for this reason, I don't think a new Tezzeret is that bad. Tezzeret's kind of uncommon, and it has been about half a decade, if not longer, since we've had a Tezzeret before. But this is not something that really drives me batshit crazy like the other iterations of Jace every few months. I can't really say the same thing for Johnny, though. Johnny, I don't really see why he's here. I don't really think he had that much to do with this story, and honestly, I think no player would really mind that he wouldn't be absent from the set. Honestly, I don't think this Planeswalker is awful in the slightest bit. I think it has some really great abilities. I just wanted this to be just a little bit different. Have something new. There's a lot of potential for this set, and there are a lot of neat characters. I do really like how this set did introduce a lot of neat legends to the table, but did we really need another Ajani? I sort of understood why we needed a new Chandra, just because this is her homecoming, but like I said, it doesn't really make sense for a lot of the other Planeswalkers, like Nissa, Jace, the new Liliana. They could have been fine with the old one, and same thing's kind of true with the Ajani. I would have been fine with a new Ajani Mentor of Heroes reprint, and I can't really say new, because Ajani Mentor of Heroes is an old card. But I think it would have been very fine, considering there's a lot of very synergistic cards in the set that go well with that card. And it's pretty darn awesome, if I dare say so myself. So that's our set review of Aether Revolt. And frankly, I think the set's actually a lot better than Kaladesh. Although some people will likely disagree with me, I feel like there's just a lot more well-tuned effects and a lot more well-tuned cards in this set. Plus, there's a lot of great cards, not only for Standard, but for several other constructed formats as well. I'm a big fan of the expertise spells, and there's a lot of great Revolt cards that I'm interested in brewing with. And even though they're not really like rare, powerful level cards, you can easily use them over and over again, especially thanks to that Revolt ability, which is really good. In addition, I really love the improvised cards. I think that's a phenomenal ability. I'm going to have a lot of fun with that. And overall, I think this set's really darn sweet. I know a lot of people really loved Kaladesh, and like I said, Kaladesh was alright. I thought it had some great cards, but I felt like some of it was just a little bit lacking. I gave Kaladesh, I think, a C or C+. It wasn't it didn't really wow me as much as I thought it was going to wow me, but it did have some great stuff, and it does have some great stuff. I highly recommend you get a lot of the cards of Kaladesh just because they're so neat and creative. But this is actually, I think, a lot better. I'm going to give this set a B+. It's probably, I probably like Shadows over Innistrad a little more than it, so I think it's going to be a little bit lower there. But I really do like this set a lot just because of how well thought up it is, how well all the cards really work together, and just how solid this is. And I think a lot of these cards will be playable for years to come. If you are getting into Magic, this is definitely a set you're going to want to probably invest in, or probably at least get the staple cards from it, because they're going to be good for years to come. You're going to have a lot of fun. I'm sure recycling your cards is a really, really big fun thing to do in this game. And like I said, if you haven't got them already, I'd highly recommend getting some Eerie Interludes or some other blinking effects for Standard, because that's going to be really, really nice, especially with all these Revolt cards. And yeah, it's I'd be surprised if there wouldn't be a Revolt mechanic deck coming up in Standard or Revolt archetype. That's going to be a lot of fun, hopefully. And I mean, the pieces are there. You got a lot of great stuff, especially in like white, blue, and green, to really get that archetype going. It just seems like it's a really fun deck to do, deck to play, or mechanic to work with. And like I said, I think that's partially the reason why I enjoy this so much. And on top of that, we also have new energy cards that, although, like I say, I was really looking forward to more energy cards, and I think we got a lot of great stuff going. And I think that's going to be another thing to keep in mind for years to come. It's really fantastic. I really hope they do continue to make more cards that do energy. I know we're not going to be getting a new time spiral-like set for probably at least another couple years. But I really would like them to continue making energy. Energy is such a fun mechanic. It's just too bad it's not more established, but it's phenomenal. Like I say, if you do like vehicles, there are a couple more vehicles that are worth checking out in the set. But if you know me, I'm not the biggest fan of vehicles, but they're here, and some of them are nice. Some of them are kind of janky, but I'm sure you're going to enjoy the set. This is a pretty small set, so likely you'll get a lot of the cards if by just like playing drafts or doing like buying a box or two. I mean, that's not what I would recommend you do, but there's some pretty small sets, and there are going to be a lot of great cards that will be playable in a lot of constructed formats. Like I say, my grade for this set's a B+. If anything, I just kind of feel like you didn't have to recycle the Planeswalkers. There were a couple things I felt like could have been pushed a little bit more, and I felt like some of the cycles were a little imbalanced. I feel like another thing I was a little concerned about was the absence of Fabricates, although I did really like that mechanic a lot. The absence of it does take a couple points off of my score, but the rest of the mechanics, I think, do really make up for it just because of how great they are. But yeah, that is the set review. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, and I hope that you take account of all the wonderful cards that are reprinted and printed in the set. Like I said, there are 25 new inventions of classic artifacts, and a couple of them are new artifacts as well from this set as well. So if you get one of those will be pretty valuable, except maybe Ornithopter. I can't say that for sure. But like I said, this is a fun set, and I hope you all enjoy it. So I will see you all next time. My name is Rhea Spector, and happy brewing, and I wish you the best.